Friday, April 16, 1886. The moon was shining brilliantly, flooding the garden paths, the trees, and the water of the lake with its white rays. Girish, M., Latu, and a few other devotees were seated on the steps leading to the lake. The house stood to the west of the lake. A lamp burnt in the master's room on the second floor. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on his bed. There were several devotees in the room. A few minutes later, Girish and M. were strolling along a garden path lined with flowering plants and fruit trees. M. How beautiful this moonlight is. Perhaps nature has had the same laws from time out of mind. Girish, how do you know that? M. There is no change in the uniformity of nature. European scientists have been discovering new stars through the telescope. There are mountains on the moon. They have seen them. Girish, it is difficult to be sure of that. It is hard for me to believe it. M. Why? The mountains have been observed through the telescope. Girish, how can you be sure that they have been rightly observed? Suppose there are other things between the moon and the earth. Light passing through them may conjure up such visions. Narendra, Rakhal, Niranjan, Sharat, Shoshi, Baburam, Kali, Jogin, Latu, and a few other devotees had been living at the Cossipore garden house in order to nurse Sri Ramakrishna. That evening, Narendra, Kali, and Tarok had gone to Dakshineshwar. They were going to spend the night in the Panchaboti, meditating on God. Girish, Latu, and M. went to Sri Ramakrishna's room and found him sitting on the bed. Shoshi and one or two devotees had been tending the master. Baburam, Niranjan, and Rakhal also entered the room. It was a large room. Some medicines and a few other accessories were kept near the bed. One entered the room by a door at the north end. Since Sri Ramakrishna had to be tended all night, the devotees stayed awake by turns. The devotee who tended him fixed Sri Ramakrishna's mosquito net and then either lay on a mat on the floor or spent the night sitting up. Since Sri Ramakrishna got very little sleep on account of his illness, his attendant too slept very little. That evening, Sri Ramakrishna was somewhat better. The devotees saluted the master and sat down on the floor. The master asked M to bring the lamp near him. He greeted Girish cordially. Master, to Girish. Are you quite well? To Latu. Prepare a smoke for him and give him a betel leaf. A few minutes afterwards, he asked Latu to give Girish some refreshments. Latu said that they had been sent for. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting up. A devotee offered him some garlands of flowers. Sri Ramakrishna put them around his neck one by one. Was he thus worshipping God who dwelt in his heart? The devotees looked at him wonderingly. He took 2 garlands from his neck and gave them to Girish. Every now and then, Sri Ramakrishna asked whether the refreshments had been brought. M was fanning the master. On the bed was a sandalwood fan, the offering of a devotee. The master gave it to M, who continued to fan him with it. He also gave M 2 garlands.